one of the many things that Sergey Kovalev is apparently angry about ahead of his fight with Andre Ward tomorrow night is the amount of money that he's getting, the purse. The first fight had Andre Ward getting a sum of $5 million and Sergey Kovalev got $2 million. And remember, Kovalev was the champion going into that fight. Ward had never fought at world championship level at light heavyweight before, prior to that, whereas Kovalev was a reigning champion and a unified champion at that. Going into this rematch, Andre Ward will be getting a guaranteed $6 million and Sergey Kovalev will be getting a guaranteed $0. That's right, $0. According to Dan Raphael of ESPN, Sergey Kovalev is getting $0 guaranteed. What he will be getting, according to the article I'm reading from here, is 75% of the pay-per-view revenue from his side of the table. That means that 25% of that pay-per-view revenue will go to his team, manager, promoter, so on and so forth. I'm not sure because it doesn't state whether Andre Ward will be getting a cut of the pay-per-view revenue on top of his $6 million guaranteed. I'm not sure. But basically what this means for Kovalev is that his entire purse and how much money he makes is dependent on how well this fight sells, in terms of how well it sells on pay-per-view and also how well it sells at the actual gate, ticket sales, people that are going to be in attendance. Kovalev and his team seem to suggest that Ward's side have deliberately been underselling the fight to try and hit Kovalev in the pocket, because Ward is guaranteed $6 million, whereas Kovalev isn't guaranteed anything. So if the fight don't sell well, it's Kovalev that's going to feel it in the pocket, not so much Andre Ward. Perhaps these are the dirty tactics that Kovalev claims Team Ward have been carrying on with. I'm not sure. But what I would say about the situation is this. For Kovalev to be a reigning champion as he was going into the first fight, and to be taking on a guy moving up in weight, a guy who's not a big box office draw in the United States, for him to be making only $2 million and Ward to have made $5 million in the first fight, the person that Kovalev needs to take that up with is not Andre Ward. Andre Ward doesn't represent Kovalev. His team are not there to get Kovalev the best deal. They're there to get Andre Ward the best deal. The people that Kovalev needs to take it up with are his own team, his manager, his promoter, Kathy Duva. Why is she not getting in better purses than this? That's who he needs to take it up with. And if she's not capable of getting in better purses, then he needs to look elsewhere for a promoter that is capable of getting him better purses than he's been getting. Same goes for this rematch. The deal that he's got, which he's apparently not happy about, the rematch clause was in the first contract, people. So it was no secret, it was no mystery as to what was going to happen in terms of the purse split if Kovalev was to lose the fight. That was all decided before the first fight in the contracts. There was no mystery. It wasn't Ward's team pulling a fast one. No, that was all decided in the contracts, and that was down to Kathy Duva and Kovalev's manager and his legal team. They're the ones who signed off on that contract. They didn't even have to fight Andre Ward. They were in the driving seat in terms of what they wanted to put in the contract and not put in the contract. So Kovalev needs to look at his team. Instead of being angry at Ward, he needs to look at his team. Why are they not getting in better purses than this? Why are they not getting in better deals than this? I'm going to do a separate video on this particular situation, but Andre Fonfara came out on social media in the past day or so and said that the last time he fought for Kathy Duva, I believe it was back in 2011, Kathy Duva paid him $1. I'm not joking, people. I'll upload the second video, the specific video about that, and you'll see the screenshot from Andre Fonfara's Facebook. He said Kathy Duva paid him $1. Now, I'm assuming that he would have got a percentage of pay-per-view or ticket sales on top of that $1. But these kind of contracts have got nothing to do with Andre Ward and his team. These kind of contracts have got to do with Kathy Duva. So again, Kovalev, I don't know how business savvy he is. He needs to take a long, hard look at his relationship with Kathy Duva. You know, boxing is not the place for misplaced loyalty when it comes to fighters and their relationships with promoters and managers, so on and so forth. As a boxer, you have a very limited amount of time to make the most out of your talent and exploit it financially. You're going to be in your prime for 5 years at the most for most fighters? I mean, if you get 10 years at championship level, you're very lucky. So during that time, there is no place for you to be loyal to certain promoters at the expense of earning more money. There's no time for that. The promoter is piggybacking off your success. That's what they're doing. The promoter's not getting in the ring and risking his life and his health. That's not what the promoter's doing. And when your time at the top is over and you're past your prime, you're too old to compete at the highest level and earn big money, the promoters that you've been dealing with all that time, they're still going to be able to earn big money because their success is not dependent on their age. Look at Bob Arum. Look at Don King. Look at all these other promoters who've been around for decades and decades and decades, earning millions, while they've had countless fighters on their books over the years who have come and gone. Many of them have gone broke. So misplaced loyalty to promoters and managers is a pitfall that you want to avoid if you're a fighter. I like the James DeGale approach. He just goes to the height. Whoever's paying the most money, I'm going there. Forget all this loyalty stuff. I'm trying to earn the most amount of money I can while I'm still capable. Some people might point to fighters like Anthony Joshua, for example, who is earning very good money and he's with a promoter and he's loyal to a particular promoter. Well, I mean, let me not even say he's loyal. He's under contract with a promoter in Eddie Hearn. That's because Eddie Hearn's doing a better job for him than any of the other promoters could do at the moment. If there comes a time when there's a promoter on the scene that could do a better job for Anthony Joshua than Eddie Hearn, then I would certainly urge Anthony Joshua to leave and go to them. If there comes a time when Anthony Joshua can branch out and have his own promotional company rather than dealing with Eddie Hearn, I would advise him to do that. You only have a finite amount of time as a fighter to maximize your revenue and make the most out of your talent. Eddie Hearn is going to be here long after Anthony Joshua has passed his prime. And all these other promoters, the Frank Warrens and all these people, they're still going to be around unless, you know, they come into ill health or something like that. They're going to be around. So Joshua can't be worried about loyalty to any of these people, or any other fighter can't be worried about loyalty to promoters. So Kovalev feels like Kathy Duva gave him an opportunity when other promoters wouldn't. Maybe she did, but she gave him an opportunity not out of the goodness of her heart. She gave him an opportunity because she saw an opportunity for herself to make money. She didn't take him in off the street and, you know, do everything for him for free. No, she's been taking her cut of Sergey Kovalev. So forget about loyalty. If he's smart, he needs to look at his team after this fight. Whether he wins or loses, he needs to take a long, hard look at his team and say, you know what, you guys are not making me the most amount of money. I need to go elsewhere. I mean, I think even Kovalev joining K2 would be a better move than staying with Kathy Duva. K2 obviously promote Triple G Gennady Golovkin. That's the Klitschko promotional outfit. I think they'd do better for him. So, just my thoughts, people. I mean, he could go to Al Heyman, like so many other fighters have. Andre Fonfara, for example, he went to Al Heyman And he's earning clearly far more money being without Heyman than he was with Cafe Duva. So I'm not sure if he was actually signed to Cafe Duva or if that incident that he was talking about back in 2011 was just a fight where, you know, he fought on a Cafe Duva show but wasn't necessarily signed to Cafe Duva. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, people, hopefully I've given you some food for thought and some insight into this situation. Drop your comments in the comment section below if you have any more information. Please share it with us. And yeah, I'd like to hear from you. It's happening. I'm out.